So if you're asking yourself these questions, like I was a few years ago, should I retire early? Should I walk away from this career, completely pivot, completely shift what I do for a living? Am I just burned out and need a change? Or do I stay and muddle through? I've been there. A few years ago, I was asking these exact same questions in my late 40s and wondering, is this it? Is this all I have for the rest of my career? Is tired and fatigue and burnout and wondering if this is all there is? I was emotionally and physically exhausted. I had gained something like 40 pounds over COVID. I felt depleted. I felt hopeless. I felt like I was on a treadmill and I could never find a way to get off of it. And I found that I was questioning everything I had built up to that point. As an executive wellness coach and as a public health emergency management leader, I now get to help others navigate these exact same questions. So in this episode, we're going to explore a couple things. We're going to look at how to tell the difference between burnout and misalignment, why retirement may not be the answer yet, and the key questions to ask before you quit or you pivot. You don't have to stay stuck. In fact, this conversation might just be the breath that you need before you take your next bold step. Welcome back to the Executive Exhale. I'm Tammy. I'm an executive wellness coach, somatic practitioner, breathwork specialist, mindfulness coach, and I used to be someone who would lay awake at night wondering, can I keep going like this? If you're tuning in because you're fantasizing about completely shifting your career, maybe quitting your job, or maybe walking away altogether from the life that you've built, let's just say that you're not alone. Many leaders, including myself, spend a lot of time drinking far too much alcohol, buying far too many things, going on all these vacations, asking themselves the question, how the hell do I get out of where I am? I've been there, and I've had a number of clients who have been there. So you might be wondering, is it burnout or is it misalignment? Or am I just done? So this episode's for those high achievers, the leaders, the helpers, the people in the healthcare industries, the compassionate people in non-for-profits and the non-governmental organizations who are quietly falling apart while still trying to hold it all together. So let's talk about the signs and explore the questions. And let's get honest about what your nervous system, your heart, and your body are trying to tell you. So let's just start with the first reality check. Burnout is not just being tired. Burnout is full body, full heart depletion. So here are some signs. You're waking up exhausted even so you've been to bed for 8 or 10 hours. You feel emotionally numb and you might get irritable for no clear reason whatsoever. You dread Monday on Saturday. You fantasize about quitting not because you have a clear plan, but because you just need to pull the escape hatch.
Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever!
Maybe the scariest sign of all that you are burned out is that somehow inside you no longer feel like you. You don't feel like yourself anymore. You feel like somewhere along the way, as you built this 6-figure career, that you've lost yourself in the mix. Any of this sounds familiar to you, I want you to hear this. You are not weak. You are just taking on too much and carrying too much. It's really easy to romanticize when we're at our breaking points. But here's a question that I want to invite you to sit with. What part of your life are you craving retiring from? What about your life right now makes you think, I want to retire? I'm so done. Sit with that. What's the response? And don't think too heavily with it because it should just come up. It should bubble pretty quickly. And I'll ask some prompting questions like, is it the 14-hour days? Is it the being constantly tethered to your phone? Is it the crushing pressure of the job? Is it the people pleasing that you're constantly having to do? Is it the checking your ethics to the door every time you walk into an executive boardroom? Or is it truly the work itself? Like maybe you've outgrown your role or you've outgrown the work that you're doing. Maybe it no longer fills you like it used to 5, 10, 15 years ago. I remember laying on the couch myself and thinking, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. But what I really meant was I can't do this like this anymore. So I wasn't done working. I wasn't done wanting to have an impact. I wasn't done serving. I wasn't done trying to help other people. I mean, I went into the helping professions for a reason. I wasn't done doing that. What I was done was I was done doing it the way I was doing it in the role I was in because the role no longer aligned with me. So maybe you don't need to walk completely away from what you've built. Maybe you can just walk away from the version of your life that is currently hurting you, that is burning you out. What that comes down to then is it really burnout or is it misalignment of my life? And it's like, well, what's the difference? Well, the reality is there's a nuance. If you're misaligned in your role, you're no longer finding satisfaction, joy. It's no longer filling you, but it's now draining you more, either energetically or otherwise. What happens is you end up burned out because you're giving more of yourself to something you have no instinctual desire to be in anymore. It's like your body, your whole mind, body, soul resists what you're doing, and yet you're still showing up and doing it. There's a mismatch in energy there. So that inevitably will burn you out. It's often the same, but wear a different mask. But if you're wondering still, like, what's really the difference? Here's the real difference between burnout and misalignment. Burnout sounds like I have nothing left. Misalignment sounds like I'm pouring myself into something that no longer fits. Do you see the difference? Sometimes the feeling of exhaustion we have is in trying to hold up a life that doesn't fit with us anymore. So ask yourself, does the role that I'm in now reflect who I am now or who I used to be? Because we grow as humans. Our priorities change. What we do, how we live, what we like to do, the energy we like to share with other people, the kinds of work we do, it changes and shifts over time. So are you still working in what you used to be as a person? Are they still expecting you to be the person you used to be? Or have you grown and now the person you are is not aligning with the work and the role that you're in currently? The other question is, am I living from my values or am I compromising them daily? Because this is really important. If your values are constantly being stepped on, you're going to get extremely emotionally and spiritually and psychologically depleted every single day if you're having to go against your values. If you value work-life balance and your role is requiring you to work 16-hour days, that clearly goes against your values. If you have a value of being with your family in the evening and you value family time, but you're working as a high-end executive whose board of directors expects you to give up your weekends and to travel lots, maybe that job isn't for you anymore because you now have a family. If you are asking yourself the question, am I trying to survive and what needs to change? I want you to listen to this. So if you're stuck in survival mode and your body is constantly in flight and fight and you're reacting instead of responding to things, and you're getting through the day and not living it, then something needs to change. You don't need more grit. There's lots of books out there talk about this, and that's it's corporate jargon for put up and shut up. It's not grit that you need. It's maybe controversial take here. It's grace. You need more grace. And I'm saying this as someone who used grit to get through really tough things and who muscled her way through the career, who worked her way up through the stress, through the anxiety. Eventually what happens though is your nervous system and your body will say, whoa, enough. Here's the emergency brake we're pulling for you. And then you're in the middle of a crisis. I mean, mine did. I thought I had bowel cancer. I was having chest pain. My blood pressure was going through the roof. I was gaining weight. I mean, my body was reacting and responding in a way that was telling me, Tammy, this is not working for you. So don't wait for the full breakdown. If you're starting to see those subtle signs of burnout starting to show up in your life, the letting go, the numbness, the absenteeism, the wanting to take time off, the wanting to escape to vacation, if you're starting to feel those things or you know that that's present in your life, you need to look at how to realign. So here's what I did when I hit the edge. I stopped pretending that I could just push through. I got real honest with myself and I thought, okay, I'm burned out. I'm on leave now because my body has broken down and my doctor wants me to take 6-8 weeks off. Okay, now what? I took a course, just haphazard, I always thought about maybe being a coach in my retirement. I thought, I'll take this coaching program. And I learned about coaching and the power of coaching. And I thought, oh, I really like this. And not only do I like it, I think I can get paid doing this. Well, I don't know how the hell to move from my 6-figure income executive role to becoming a coach. So I'm going to hire a coach myself. And so I did. I invested in myself in coaching. I learned how to listen to my body again. I connected with a somatic heart breath specialist, my colleague and mentor, Loretta Cella. And I said, Loretta, I want to do this with you. And I worked through these sessions with her, and I somatically went into my body and connected with the areas, the places and spaces where I held all the stress in my body, learned how to release it, learned how to earth and ground, learned how to connect with my body, learned how to listen to my body again. I had forgotten what it was to listen to my body. I was ignoring all the signals. So I was learning how to do that, and then how to regulate my nervous system. She helped me do that. And through my mentor, who brought me through heart breath sessions that brought me into those deeper dives neurologically and somatically into my body, I then said, Loretta, teach me how to do this so I can bring this to my clients. I want to learn how to do this so that I can help other people experience what I just experienced with you, which is immensely helpful, immensely healing. So she did. And now I'm certified in heart breath. So what I had to do is I had to get radically honest with what mattered to me. So what did I need in my life? What did I have a vision for my future? How did I want to show up every day? How did I want to live my life? I hated getting up at 7:30 in the morning and lighting up the camera at 8:15 to get on this executive call, this check-in every morning. It bothered me to no end. I hated that. That doesn't even follow my circadian rhythm. I'm an evening, afternoon person, and I love my mornings to sort of like very slowly start my day. So when I left my 9 to 5 and became a consultant / coach, I could just, claim my own hours because that's what fits me. I had to get radically honest with what mattered to me. What mattered to me was connection, travel, independence, impact, and the things that no longer were serving me in my old career. Although I was very thankful for my job, and I'm very thankful for what it offered me and the connections that I have still to this day through that work. It was time for me to change. I got really honest with what I needed and what I could no longer tolerate. But this journey didn't end with a resignation letter. It started as a reclamation of my life. So what are your options? You don't have to choose between staying stuck and quitting everything. There's lots of in between. Here are a few middle paths that you can consider. Maybe you take a sabbatical to reset, maybe to reflect, or maybe to do something that you've been wanting to do for a while. A course, a program, maybe you want to try a consulting gig to see if it would even work for you. Maybe the shift is still in your own position, your own organization, but maybe it's a new role. Maybe it's a new challenge. Maybe it's looking at meaningful projects that you might want to offer your expertise in to shift the narrative a little bit or to change the pace of your work. To buy some time to recover and reflect, something that aligns more with you and who you are and your skills. Maybe you'll consider coaching or therapy to help rebuild your capacity and your perspective, maybe shift your perspective. Another thing that you can consider is nervous system support. Get a mindfulness, breathwork, somatic coach, or just look online for tools. YouTube is plentiful with somatic tools and exercises and meditative practices that you can do. And yes, sometimes a full pivot is the answer. Let that come from clarity, not collapse, because I did it from collapse. And when you do that, there's always a risk that things could go sideways. You want to go towards something. You never want to escape. You want to go towards something. So get clear about what it is you want to go towards, because that way you're not running away, but you're running to. And that pull will help you on those days when you find it tough to get up and do the thing that you have to do. All I'm going to say is you do not have to figure it all today. But let this episode be your permission to start asking yourself these questions. Well, if you're still here and you're at a crossroads and you're still watching this content, that tells me that maybe you're not done. Maybe you're ready for something different. You deserve a life that doesn't drain you. You deserve a career that honors your humanity. And you deserve a nervous system that is not in crisis. So here's your invitation. Pause, breathe, and ask those hard questions. And whenever you're ready, reach out. There are links down below where you can book into my calendar to see if we're a good fit, if maybe there's something I can do to support you. And I have the Exhale method, which is a method meant to support you to deal with burnout, stress, so you can feel calmer, get the clarity you need. And maybe the shift will come out of that conversation and coming out of that process. Regardless, you're not meant to just survive this life. You're meant to thrive. You're here to live it. So let's get you there. If you got anything out of this, I would love it if you would follow, like, subscribe, comment, because all of that engagement, all it does is it helps boost this content so I can get to other leaders like you who maybe need this information. It's positive vibes and it's completely free. Also, if you're looking for support for yourself, again, check out the links down below. There is a stress audit that I highly recommend you take. It can help you figure out where you're most stressed, how it's impacting your life, and there are 3 different zones that based on where you score yourself, there's some tips and tricks in there on how you can support yourself starting today without the need of a coach. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, folks, stay grounded, stay inspired, and remember to exhale.